folks, Tom Vasel here. We have several big announcements here, so pay attention. Here we go. Number one, the Week in Review section of Board Game Breakfast has been moved out. It was getting pretty long anyway, so now it's its own video, and you can go watch that. It'll be posted around the same time each week as Board Game Breakfast, and so in this you can see what games we reviewed last week, me and other reviewers. You can go check those out, kind of quick clips of everything, so you don't have to watch every video that comes out each week. Also, okay, so that's number one. Number two, the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund auction is ending this week. There's still a week to get involved in it, but don't delay. Jack Vasel Memorial Fund is basically a charity that I put together, and there's many people involved in this charity, not just me. When my son, who died about 5 years ago in November, and he was 2 months old, and people helped me out tremendously at that point in time, and I wanted to help other gamers out in their time of need. When catastrophic events happen to gamers, we're there able to help them in some way. And if you want to be involved, there's auction at Board Game Geek. There's so many amazing items in it. You can go bid. You can still add items. They will get bids on. It's already raised over $50,000, but we'd like to see how far we can take that, and we want to thank everybody for their involvement who's involved with that. Finally, and this one don't miss, Dice Tower Con registration opens up in less than a week. When exactly? Well, it depends when you're watching this, so go to dicetowercon.com. There is a countdown timer there. When that countdown timer runs out, you can register for the convention. Do it. Be involved. Come to one of the most fun gaming conventions. It's going to sell out. Don't delay. Think about doing it. Get involved there. Okay, also, we want to thank Top Shelf Gamer. Top Shelf Gamer is a place where you can go for your game storage, components, and accessories. They put it all together in one big package. You want to have your game and all the little cool things that come with it. We want to thank them for sponsoring us on Kickstarter. Also, Keith Mitchell, who thanks us for opening the door for him in board games. And also, he wants to list his top 100. No, or his top 3. Robinson Crusoe, number 3, 2, Cyclades, and number 1, X-Wing, Star Wars X-Wing. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Top Shelf Gamer, for supporting us in our Kickstarter. Our new Kickstarter is coming up in January, but we don't got time for that now. Let's get to the news. In the news this week, the Toy Hall of Fame has inducted the game Twister. Well, they've inducted several things. Every year they induct stuff, and I don't put a whole lot of stock because, they have inducted the stick and the blanket. Woohoo! I don't know why the box isn't in there. But anyhow, Twister made it in. Jenga and Battleship were on the short list and did not make it. But hey, what do I know? I'm really not sure how they picked these things, but hey, congratulations, Twister! Patch has announced some new versions of Stratego, both Waterloo, which they say is taking it to a historical level, okay, and Conquest, which is multiplayer. I don't know how Stratego will work multiplayer, but I'm really interested in the Waterloo version. AEG has given the rights for 7th Sea back to John Wick, but has retained some of those rights to make games. This almost feels like they are saying, hey folks, we're making a 7th Sea living card game. Or ECG is what they call theirs, expandable card game. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it seems like it. And 7th Sea was one of those CCGs that didn't do well, but it was a pirate CCG. So let's hope with our current craze in pirates. The Hasbro Gaming Labs, that was where Hasbro worked together with Indiegogo, and then there was a contest to make a game, and then those games went up, and now they're on Indiegogo. They have 5 winners. Some of them have done well on Indiegogo, some of them have done okay. All of them don't look like very good games, frankly. Has this been a success? Maybe it has been. We'll see. I'm curious what you guys think about it. And then, of course, Star Wars Rebellion, announced by Fantasy Flight Games. This is a Star Wars miniatures game, because that's the license that Fantasy Flight has. But it looks like a board game. It looks like it's a port of the old computer game. The designer on the box says Corey Kinezka. He has done some great stuff in the past. The game comes with 150 miniatures, but not just anything. I mean, it comes with Star Wars. I mean, the Death Star, and the 2 different models for the Death Star, the Executor, and the Millennium Falcon. And it just looks like it's chock full. It looks like everything. It's for 2 or 4 players. Very curious about this one. Q1 2016. Hey folks, Tom Vasel here.
Jason Levine.
Today our question from Winnie is it worth going to a convention on your own? Going solo, going in and not knowing much about the people there involved. What's it like? Is it worth doing it?
Well, yes. I obviously now when we go to conventions, we're going as a big group, and I have all my friends with me, like Tom. So we have a nice, it's a little different nowadays because we have a Dice Tower booth and people come. But back in the day, when I used to go to like the WBC, I used to go by myself when I first started. And at conventions, what's good is you go, even if you don't know anyone, eventually if you go year after year, you get to meet people and you get to know people. And I think it's okay to go by yourself, especially to conventions that are more focused on game playing. I mean, I personally have never gone to a shopping convention like a Gen Con or an Essen other than with the Dice Tower because I never felt the need to have to shop because I always buy stuff from Cool Stuff anyway. But in terms of board gaming conventions, I have gone to at least 2, WBC for sure, and there was one in Albany years ago that I went to, and I went by myself.
What about Board Game Geek Con and Dice Tower Con?
Well, Board Game Geek Con and Dice Tower Con, we've gone as a group. I haven't gone by myself.
Oh, you haven't gone by yourself?
I'm talking about me and myself.
Didn't you get a Board Game Geek by yourself?
No, because we both went the first year.
Ah, I see. All right. Well, I agree. If you're an extrovert, it's not hard at all. You just go and jump into games. If you're not an extrovert, though, it can be more difficult, and you can end up not having fun. So what I might do in that regard is look for something to do. Look for people who are playing a game. Ask, can you join the game? When you sit down, if they enjoy, if you had a good time, maybe they're going to play some more. There's some conventions that are really good for this. Dice Tower Con, Board Game Geek Con, or some where they have players won it signs. So if someone's saying player won it, you can go there. If it's a bigger con like Origins or Gen Con, you can actually sign up for games. So when you show up, the game is going to happen, and someone will gladly teach you. If nothing else, you can wander through the publisher areas, and they'll say, hey, we'll teach you the game, and you can sit down and play, and maybe the person you played a game with. And that's what I would do. I've been to conventions by myself, even before, I was the Dice Tower, right?
Yeah.
And it's not as, it's you got to kind of put yourself out there. You got to kind of just go and talk to people and things. It's not as easy the first time, but the second year, it's a lot more fun because you met people the previous year.
Yeah, I mean, World Board Gaming Championships, when I first went, the good thing about it was all the tournaments are organized, so okay, I want to go play Puerto Rico. I'll go where they're signing up people for Puerto Rico or whatever game you want to play. So you knew you had people to play with, and then you get to meet people as you play. And I think that's at most conventions is that the more you go, it's a lot of the same attendees go to a lot of the same conventions, so you get to meet the same people again and again, and then you make friends with them. Then you could play with them on Brett Spiel Welt and all those other things. And I think it's good bonding. And obviously nowadays we have, it's a little different, but nowadays if you're new, come out. You'll see us at any convention. You can come to our booth, come say hi to us, and you'll have friends right off the bat. Okay. Friends right off the bat, us.
Well, yeah, but there's also a chance that we might not be able to play games with you, so you're going to have to find people to play games with. I mean,
that's true.
But Jason will play games with you. All right. Anyhow, I'm Tom Vasel.
Jason Levine.
Please send us questions. We're out of questions at dicetower@gmail.com.
So, we are concluding our discussion on the 2015 People's Choice. Today I'm going to rifle through a variety of what I call closing thoughts on the subject. Curiosities about this year's list.
Number 1.
Game of Thrones dropped from 48 to 97. Probably a lot of casual gamers voted for it last year because they bought it, but then they didn't vote for it this year because either A, their copy is still in shrink wrap, or B, they played it and realized that playing a long, cumbersome, awful, tedious game is not as much fun as watching a popular television show.
Number 2.
Formula D is almost always number 88. It was number 88 this year, it was number 8 in 2013, it was number 88 in 2012. Maybe there's just something about cars and the number 88.
88 miles per hour! Number 3.
31 games have appeared on the People's Choice all 5 years. 31 games. I'm going to put a list of them right here now, so get your pause finger ready. Note that this is down from 47 last year. How many will have been on the list all 6 years? We'll find out in 2016, but I predict it will be in the low 20s next year.
Number 4.
If you're interested in finding out how your own list compared to the People's Choice, Redditor Fission Essence came up with an analysis of how to figure it out. You should check it out.
Number 5.
A game released in 2008 has been the number 1 every year of this list. Granted, that's only 2 games, Dominion and then Pandemic, but still, 2008. A great year for board games.
Number 6.
The most popular game year remains 2012. A total of 24% of the games on the list were released in 2012, which I find remarkable.
And finally,
What are my closing thoughts on the People's Choice for 2015? Well, that's a story for another time. Next week, in fact.
What's gonna do? Play another Cthulhu game? Ha! Cthulhu ain't nothing! Dracula! Fury of Dracula! Yeah! That's right! I'm back! And I'm furious! Well, more furious than the second edition. I'm like 3 times as much! Well, actually, probably just 1 time more, because I was furious in the first one and furiouser in the second one. But now I'm furiousest in the third edition. Well, you kind of get the point. I'm ticked.
Just because I'm Frankenstein's monster.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Fury of Dracula. Fury of Dracula 2. No, dummy. Fury of Dracula 3. Not Fury of Dracula 2. My nephew told me that one, and I thought that was stupid at first, but then I got it. The game is excellent. You got Van Helsing, you got Lucy, you got Amina, Jonathan Harker. They chase me all over Europe. They never find me because I'm hiding. Not because I'm chicken, because it's because I'm a bat and I have to sleep sometimes, guys. It sucks. In all seriousness, this means so much to me. I promised myself I wouldn't do this.
I was given a name by Master.
Dracula 3! Dracula 3 for you and me!
I'm evil, incarnate. Gosh darn it. Whoa, 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 I'm evil. Incarnate, gosh darn it.
Hey folks, this week we have quite a few reviews for you. First of all, though, I do want to mention that Board Game Blender is coming out this week. Z does a show like that every Thursday, just like Board Game Breakfast, but with a whole different slate of contributors and a whole spin on it. I will be taking a look at several reviews this week. The big one is we'll be taking a look at Time Stories, also 504, Simurg, Above and Below, Skyliners, Roar, Inhabit the Earth, and then a few smaller games we'll be taking a look at. There's really lots of games. Z will be doing some, Sam will be doing some of our contributors have some reviews coming for you that way too. Also, we'll be taking a look on our podcasts. We're adding a new podcast, which may be this week or next week, and all our other podcasts, including our own one show, comes up tomorrow. Again, you can find all this stuff at dicetower.com. That's what you have to look forward to this week. Let's move on.
Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise here, and those of you who track down and watch every single second of video footage that I produce, which is, I assume all of you, are probably aware that I grew up playing Risk, and even though it has long since been surpassed by other games, it'll always have sentimental value to me. And that's why I was excited for Star Wars Risk, which actually has more in common with the highly praised, but long out of print game, The Queen's Gambit, than it does with traditional Risk. What's more, 2 versions of Star Wars Risk are available. The Standard Edition, plus a limited Black Edition, which contains additional and upgraded components. Well, I was just about to go and buy the Black Edition, but then I discovered something that made me pause. See, Amazon was selling the standard edition for $24 and the black edition for $50, more than twice the price. I had to ask myself, am I really willing to spend that much more just for heavier cardboard and more plastic pieces? But then I started wondering what was actually stopping me from placing my order in the first place. I mean, I've purchased board games that are $50 or more all the time without even batting an eye. So what really was the difference here? See, I didn't perceive enough of an increase in value for the black edition to justify its price difference. If the standard version was $40, even $35, then I wouldn't have even thought twice about paying an additional $10 to $15 for the black edition, even though the price of the black edition remained exactly the same. But that leap from $24 up to $50 was so substantial that I noticed it, giving me an opportunity to become skeptical as to whether or not the black edition actually contains $26 more in value than the standard one does. Perceived value. That's what it's all about. Whether it's a popular IP branded onto the same old game, or a deluxe version, or a legacy game designed to only be played 18 times, or a puzzle game that comes with just 3 hours of gameplay in the base box with additional modules sold separately, each of these products is the right choice for somebody, and that somebody is anybody who perceives its price as being appropriate for the amount of satisfaction that they predict they'll receive from it. And every consumer is going to perceive that differently. So the question becomes, is the black edition of Star Wars Risk worth its price? Well, I'm not going to tell you what conclusion I came to. Instead, I'll leave that up to you to perceive.
Interesting. Oh! Hello, Internet. Almost didn't see you there. Welcome back to the Game Plan. I'm your host, Andrew Cohen. In the last episode, I went over my list of my top 5 games of all time. In the next few episodes, I will be going into each of these games in more detail. This week, it's my favorite tile placement game, Glenmore. For those of you that don't know about Glenmore, this is an amazing tile placement game where you are building a territory for a Scottish clan in the 17th century. So why is it number 5? Let's go to the table. So first of all, there's a lot of interesting decisions, from acquiring your tiles, to figuring out the puzzle of planning and building your city, to managing your resources, and to choosing bonus tiles. Also in this game, there's a huge sense of escalation. You start off with your single village tile, and by the end, you have a 15 to 20 tile city, where when you play down a tile, you're setting off combinations of 6, 7, maybe even 8 tiles. Also, selecting tiles in this game is awesome. The person who's last in line goes next. Yellow has the chance to take any of these tiles, but let's say to Yellow, the butcher looks really interesting. So he jumps across the board to grab it. Now his opponents have multiple turns to take multiple tiles before Yellow can even go again. So the question is, do you want to jump across the board to get the tile, or go short and play it safe and hope that neither of your opponents take the tile down the road? So that's Glenmore. It's a pretty stupid tile placement game that I really love. It can be hard to find these days though, so you might want to check out the new space-themed re-implementation in Architects. The Kickstarter begins November 10th. So signing off, this is Andrew Cohen. This has been The Game Plan.
Hey everybody, welcome to the 101. I get a lot of letters about washes. Today we're going to make our own, so let's take a look. Okay, here we are at the table. Here are the things that you're going to need. You're going to need a bottle of matte medium. Also, you need some flow aid. And of course, the ink that you want to do. Black ink for black washes. Also, you're going to want a 2-ounce squeezy container here with a good top. The first thing you're going to want to do is fill 1 ounce with matte medium. Just pour it straight in. Next, you're going to want to make a mixture where you're going to take 9 parts water and then 1 part flow aid and put it into a cup where you can pour into the squeeze container. Next, you want to take your ink. The next thing you're going to do is get an eyedropper. Fill your eyedropper and put about 20 drops in. Now you could put more in if you want a darker wash, or you can put less in if you want a lighter wash. Close up the top and shake it up real good. Now, as far as the water's concerned, make sure you're using distilled water. And once shaken, there you have your dark wash. If it's too dark, just add just a touch more water. If it's too light, add a little more ink. And there you have it, washes. And there you have it on washes. For an extended look on washes, go to my channel, Robert Oren, here on YouTube. And also, as always, on the Dice Tower, each and every week, it's Sam and I doing battling brushes. This month we're doing Age of Sigmar. Next month, who knows what we're doing. But it all ends with a playthrough each and every month. Join us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Hey folks, one of the games that we're reviewing this week is Time Stories. And I've seen a lot of different reviews of Time Stories, and Time Stories has certainly garnered more controversy than any game has before, not because of its theme or anything, but because of how it's sold. It comes out in a set, you know, you play the game and then it's done. You can never play it again, really. I mean, you could, but you already know everything. But then you buy more expansion models, and people have really ragged on this model, and other people have come up against, have supported the model, and you'll find out what we think soon enough. But some of the people have given it negative reviews and stuff because it's been hyped so strongly. They basically are the anti-hype crowd. Now, I've spoken here against hype in the past, which is, kind of an interesting thing since the Dice Tower really pushes a lot of hype. There's no question on that. And I worry sometimes about hype. Like, it drives me absolutely insane that I came back from Essen and people come up to me and go, "Hey, what do you think about Seventh Continent and Scythe?" And I'm like, "Well, why wouldn't you ask me about like the 400 or 500 games that just were released? Isn't that where our focus should be right now?" But they want to talk about stuff coming out in the future, and I already talked about that, Cold of the Future. But I think there's another group of people, and those are the people who are anti-hype. Like, everyone likes this. It can't be that good. It can't be that good. Now, I do realize that sometimes you go into a game, right, and you're like, someone goes, "This is the greatest game ever." I'm very cautious not to hype games up too much, because when it comes into that, it probably is going to fail the person, right? They're going to play and go, "Well, that was fun, but it wasn't the greatest game ever." But we almost seem to sometimes have people who are like, "Woohoo, I'm fighting the hype. I will stand firm. Sure, everyone likes Pandemic Legacy, but I'm going to say it's bad. Not because I don't like it, but because I'm standing fast." We're seeing this right now with Star Wars, right? Star Wars is coming out. The whole world's excited about it. But there are some stalwart people who want to make sure that we know they don't care if a new Star Wars movie is coming out. "Oh, okay. That's fantastic. You don't care that Star Wars is coming out? Okay, so can we still talk about Star Wars? I want to tell you how much Star Wars is bad. Whoa, 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 whoa. And there's no way this movie's going to be good." Well, can we be a little excited about it? So I think we got to be careful. And I've fallen into this trap myself before, where something is like, "This is the greatest game of all time." And I'm like, "Nah, it's not." And then I almost go in with this negative attitude. "Oh, everyone likes this game. I hope I don't, because then I can be different." Anti-hype. There's a lot of games that are being hyped right now. And I'll tell you why. Because 2015 is the best year of board gaming in probably 5 years. Hands down. It is an amazing year. I am just mind-boggled with how many games have come out that are just amazing. And I'm not alone in this. A lot of people agree with me. Maybe you don't. So then shoot my hype down. Be like, "Hype. I'm going to go back and play this old game." Great. It's great to go back and play these old games. But just because a game is getting hype doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It actually might be an amazing, really good game, which Pandemic Legacy and which Time Stories is. But if you don't like them, certainly understand that. I just don't think we should be against hype to be against hype. The anti-hype people. I wonder who's more annoying. The people who are against hype or the people who hype something beyond belief. There's the spammer, right? "Check out this game, it's amazing! Check out this game, it's amazing!" Someone comes in. "Do you know a good two-player game? Ooh, Pandemic Legacy! Do you know a good cooperative game? Ooh, Pandemic Legacy! Do you know a good war game that takes 6 hours? Oh, Pandemic Legacy!" If you kind of like squint your eyes. Okay, that's hype. On the other hand, you got the other person. "So what do you think about Pandemic Legacy?" "Oh, it's awful! Money grab!" And you're like, Maybe I'd like to talk to some people who are normal for a change. As we say here at the Dice Tower. I guess we're not so normal. Anyhow, that's what I think. Anti-hype, as bad as hype? Let me know what you think.
Hi there, my name is Niels, and today we are talking again about the best and the worst mechanism or favorite thing in a game. And today we are talking about Machikoro from IDW Games. My absolutely favorite on Machikoro is that almost everybody likes it. Everybody can play it, it's so easy rules. However, I have to say, except for me, and this leads me directly to the fact that I really hate on that game. So, in the base game, only in the base game, the only way to win the game, or the best way to win the game, is to gather as many ranch cards as you can, and when they are going out, buy as many cheese factories in the game. You know exactly in a game with dice and 2 dice, the most common number on a roll is a 7. So you most likely win when you buy all the buildings with the number 7, and the 2 is just a vehicle to get the most income from the cheese factory. And to be honest, if there's only one way, only one strategy to win a game, that's for me totally boring. It's so boring. Please tell me in the comments your best and your worst thing for Machikoro from IDW Games. Thanks again. This was another episode from Cyril's Brettspiele durchgespielt. My name is Niels, and another The Best and the Worst series. See you next time. Bye bye.
This is our game room / dining room. A lot more gaming gets done in here than eaten anymore. Over here we'll start with some classic games, some party games, a bunch of card games and fillers, some bins with extra game pieces, dice, stuff like that. Pile of kids games that still need to make it upstairs. Over here we got Hero Escape figures in the top 3 bins. The drawers have the cards, the dice, some terrain, a bunch of the extra pieces. That's just a computer / video gaming area. I'll keep some other games down inside of there. Party games over here. And some more card games, word games. And over here is the bulk of the collection along this wall. I think the entire collection is up somewhere around 500 games now. I haven't really tallied them up in a little while, but somewhere around 500, give or take. And that's it. That's our gaming area.
Hi, Suzanne here with this week's featured board game app. I don't often feature basic card games here, but I think that Sage Solitaire is worth an exception. Let's take a quick look at this simple game that combines poker hands with solitaire. Sage Solitaire is super simple to learn and play. You're playing for high score with the ultimate goal of clearing the board. You do this by making poker hands with the cards, but at least 2 of those cards must be from different rows. Easy peasy. I'm literally showing you the whole tutorial now, which is all you need to learn the game. And there's another neat touch. You can change the background and card backs from a wide variety of options. There's a single deck and double deck mode that play exactly how they sound. And 15s mode adds the twist of allowing any hand that adds up to 15. The developer also recently added a Vegas mode as well, which gives dollar values to hands and multiplier values when you clear a stack, and you can earn and lose in-game dollars this way. Where it gets really interesting is in True Grit mode, because if you run out of money in this mode, you cannot play it again. Ever! It's solitaire permadeath. If nothing else, I applaud the developer for being innovative in the approach, even though I'm too chicken to try True Grit mode out yet. And don't worry, there's no consumable IAP in this app. It's free to download and a reasonably priced one-time IAP to unlock all the modes, art, and to remove ads. If you're like me, you like to have some super quick time killers on your phone. Sage Solitaire is the perfect 2-minute game to play while waiting in line at the grocery store. It's lovely, simple, and compelling. Give it a try.
Oh, hello Internet. It's November, and that means two things around here. Number one, the holidays are just around the corner. And number two, the gang at Snakes and Lattes is getting ready to punch cancer right in its ugly face. November 13th marks not only my birthday, but also the start of the 4th annual Snakes and Lattes Katanathon Against Cancer. Every year, we gather a group of foolhardy volunteers to play Catan for as long as they can, bolstered by the donations from internet viewers like you and the surprise visits from different special celebrity guests. Previous guests have included the future retro rock powerhouse group Twerp, a bevy of Toronto burlesque dancers, webcomic artist Ryan North, comedians Richard Ryder and Gavin Crawford. Who are we going to get this year? Well, watch the live stream at snakesandlattes.com to find out. Now, this year, we're taking the fight against cancer a little more personally because in 2015, one of the Snakes and Lattes family members was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And so this year, cancer is going to find out just how angry we all are about that. Spoiler alert, it's a lot. We're taking donations on our website at snakesandlattes.com, and if you're in Toronto on the 13th through the 14th, feel free to drop by and make a donation in person. 100% of the proceeds will go to the Canadian Cancer Society to help them fund their cancer research, treatment, and providing care for the victims of cancer and their families. Now, our players are going to play for as long as they possibly can. Will this be the year that they break 24 hours? Who knows? But the more you donate, the longer they'll play, and the wackier things they're going to get forced to do while they play. So, it may be that your 2015 charity dollars are already spoken for, and that's okay. You can still help the Snakes and Lattes Katanathon Against Cancer. How? I'm glad you asked. You can share the site, snakesandlattes.com, on your social medias, on your Twitters, on your Facebooks, and all that stuff, and use the hashtag Katanathon. Tweet about the event. Raise awareness of this important fundraiser. In the past, we have raised thousands of dollars to help cancer victims. We hope this year to break our record. Thank you very much.
Well, I've been really excited about the number of reviews that we've been able to do. I mean, literally, I've been playing so many games that I just have a huge stack of games to review. And even though we're reviewing a lot each week, we just can't get them all done. But we are working at that. Many people have, said, how come you haven't reviewed this game yet? Well, because literally there's that many games out. We are trying to review a lot of the big games, but we also don't want to miss out on some of these smaller games that may or may not be really fun to play. And so like this week, I'm reviewing some of the big games that have come out lately, but I'm also taking time to take a look at some of the smaller games that you might have missed because some of them might be fantastic. Some of them probably not, but still I want to give people as fair a shake as possible. So if you're looking for a specific review, it is probably coming. I just can't tell you exactly when, but you'll see several this week. Hey folks, once again, I really appreciate you watching our show. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at coolstuffinc.com.